Hi, welcome to Focus on Finance. My name is Melanie Parker and I'll be your host. Focus on Finance is sponsored by the Consumer Education Division of the Wright Legacy Group. Before I introduce you to our guest today, I would like my wonderful co-hosts here to take a minute to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Galena Wade. I'm a junior at Central Hardin High School. I am a student in the TVP class and I'm also a theater technician. So here's my shameless plug to go support the theater department at Central Hardin and see the play of Mice and Men this fall.
Good job.
And I'm Trayvon Porter Smith, a student at Central Hardin, senior, short, not very tall, but you know, I try to grow. But I'm just here.
Long in personality, obviously.
I like to write poetry in my spare time, music.
You do not.
Wonderful.
I love poetry.
What about any aspirations for college, either of you?
Any aspirations? I would like to go to ITT Tech.
Wonderful.
I have no idea what school I want to go to, but I want to be a foreign exchange student and become bilingual.
Wow. But you already know a little bit of Japanese, so you're
yes,
on your way, right?
I have spoken Japanese for 4 years now.
Wow. And Trayvon, you seem to be fluent in Spanish?
My family is.
Yeah, okay.
We're part like Spanish and Italian.
Wonderful, impressive. Okay, Steve, your turn. Today we have Steve Wright with us. He's the managing member of the Wright Legacy Group, and our topic today is going to be annuities. And unfortunately, we have a very small block of time, and annuities is probably a very big subject. We may leave with more questions than we came in with, but at least we will engage conversation and take it from there.
Yes.
Welcome, Steve. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I believe you have some questions for Steve.
Annuities only sold through insurance companies?
It's a very great question, Trayvon. Annuities is a form of investment where you're investing your money. And as we'll discuss a little bit later in the program here, there's many different types of annuities, many different types of investments you can make with annuities. But they do fall under, they can all be offered through insurance companies because of some guarantees that annuities provide. So yes, they can only be offered through insurance companies themselves, yes.
Can anyone invest in an annuity? I mean, can I go in and purchase an annuity for my son, or how does that work?
Yes, it is a financial investment. It's a type of investment that would match other things you're doing in your portfolio. Mm-hmm. So yes, anybody of any age can buy an annuity. You have to look to see if it's an appropriate financial vehicle for their age group and everything. The main thing to keep in mind, annuities can't be bought on Wall Street like a stock or a bond. They're only offered through insurance companies.
Oh, okay.
That kind of clarifies that a little bit, yes.
Right.
So there are both variable and fixed annuities.
Mm-hmm.
What kind would you recommend?
Well, it depends on the client, their age, and their future goal for their money. If they come in with a pot of money and depending on what they want to do with that money, you would invest it in a variable or a fixed annuity. Let me discuss that briefly there. A fixed annuity is somewhat like a bank CD, certificate of deposit. You invest your money with the annuity company for say 5 years, and they're going to give you 3% a year for 5 years. It's very straight. That's a fixed annuity. Your principal is guaranteed. Your interest rate is guaranteed for the time period that you have committed your money for. 3% a year in this example for 5 years. That's a fixed annuity. A variable annuity is actually, although an annuity is only offered through an insurance company, they can, inside a variable annuity, you can go out and buy stocks, mutual funds, bonds, and things inside that annuity. That's called a variable annuity. Variable because with a variable annuity, there's no guarantee that you'll make money. It can go up and down with your investments in the stock market and everything. So a variable annuity may be more suited for someone that's younger that wants some stock market exposure. A fixed annuity would be for someone who wants to have some guarantees. I can't lose money. I'm going to get a set rate of interest. Now there is a hybrid annuity that's been around about 14 years now. That's a hybrid between a fixed annuity and a variable annuity. And with this hybrid annuity, it's called an indexed annuity. The difference being is that it is an annuity that has a guarantee you can't lose money. It also has a guaranteed minimum rate of return, but you can invest it in stock market indexes. It's tied to the growth of the market. So with an indexed annuity, when the market goes up, that gain is locked in, and if the market goes back down, you don't lose what you gain. So it's kind of like you can stair step, make some money, keep it, make it, keep it, make it, keep it. So it's kind of a hybrid between the variable annuity that can go up and down and a fixed annuity. And indexed annuities are pretty popular with people who want to be invested in the market but not have the risk of losing money on the downside. So that's the three basic types. There's 4 basic types of annuities. That's 3 of the 4.
Okay.
When somebody walks into your office and makes an appointment and comes in for consultation with you, how do you determine what would be best? Is it based on their goals, or how do you guide them as far as, say, TD Ameritrade or insurance, those types of where to invest their money?
Right.
What are the factors?
That's a great question. You have to ask clients, regardless of age and circumstances, questions to determine their risk aversion, how risky they want to be, how safe they want to be with their money. And we always tailor it to each individual person. So everybody's different. Like Trayvon, if you had $1,000 to invest, you might take that $1,000 and buy Facebook stock, okay, right? Maybe, or Apple computer or something like that. If you take someone that gives me $1,000 to invest for their grandchild who's 1 year old, and they want it to grow for college, well, that might be a different type of investment for that young child. If an 80-year-old person walks in and wants to invest $1,000, we would be a different type of investment, more safe investment, okay? So depending on a person's age, how risk adverse or how risky they want to be with their money, it's always a variable. It's nothing set in stone. It's really just asking questions and seeing what they want to do with their money and what they want the end result to be with that money.
If someone invests money into an annuity, and is it always with the assumption that it would be a long-term goal or long-term investment? Are they able to obtain any funds if they need to, say an emergency should come up?
Great questions. Historically, annuities have been deemed to be a long-term investment. But today, you can invest in an annuity for as short as 4 years, okay? From 4 to 14 years, depending on your time horizon and everything. So it's not necessarily anymore a long-term investment, but for many people, as part of their investment portfolio, the annuity is the safe money, which they kind of deem to be some long-term money that they want, but that's not always the case. 4 to 14 years is kind of a length of a contract or a commitment they have it with that particular insurance company. The second question is kind of what happens along the way. Most companies, you can withdraw money, maybe up to 10% of what you put in every year without penalty. A person dies, their money is paid out to their heirs, almost always in a lump sum if they choose, without fee or penalty and things of that nature. Many companies now have provisions that if you need long-term care, you can cash out your annuities or get a large chunk of it without any surrender fees or things like that. So
That's
very flexible anymore in how they're set up, yeah.
Wonderful.
So when someone gets an annuity, do they have to specify who it would go to if they died?
Yeah, great question. Always, yes, always. When you fill out the application for that particular annuity, there's a beneficiary designation form, and you want to always name people as a beneficiary. The insurance company will not set up the account unless there's a beneficiary named. Okay, so someone always gets the money is the way that we set them up, that you get the money. So if a person dies, we will make sure it goes to that person, that the owner wants to make sure it gets it. Yeah.
I've heard of something where someone has some money, and I don't know if it's under the umbrella of annuities or not, you can clarify, where they have to take out money annually or periodically. Are those annuities, or is that something different?
That's a broad category of what's called traditionally called IRA money, traditional IRA money or a 401k.
Oh, okay.
This is retirement money that once you reach age 70 and a half, you have to start making a required minimum withdrawal, required minimum distribution from it. That money's been put away while you were working to accumulate, and once you get 70 and a half, Uncle Sam says, I've let this money grow without any receiving any taxes on it. Now it's time to start taking some out. So what you're referring to is the required minimum distribution from an IRA account.
Gotcha.
Now, an IRA account can be invested in one of these types of annuities that we've discussed. So that can be an investment for an IRA account also. Yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
is the required minimum distribution the only difference between the 401k and an annuity?
That's a great question. The required minimum distribution is a requirement of IRA money. Now, 401k is money where you work and you put it into the company plan, okay? 401k refers to the IRS tax code that sets these retirement saving plans up at your place of work. When people retire, they usually roll their 401k into an IRA account for just more control, flexibility, and things of that nature. So a 401k plan refers to an employer-sponsored retirement plan, where an annuity is generally an individual plan that you've set up for retirement or for future use of your money.
Is it common for people to have multiple annuities, or do you just have one annuity where the money goes to different places?
No, it's very common to have multiple annuities and with multiple companies many times. Again, for various reasons, you might have a little bit of money in a 4-year annuity with this company, maybe a 6-year annuity with this company, and an 8 or 10-year annuity with another company to stagger it out a little bit.
And you pick a cap, you pick a 4-year, 6-year, you pick a designated time?
The client lets me know what time frame basically they're wanting to invest their money for. Again, what we're doing by setting 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, whatever, is that we're locking in guarantees for them for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. And in today's unpredictable financial market, guarantees are pretty nice to have sometimes. On part of your portfolio, guaranteed money is pretty nice to have.
Probably not real common either.
Well, if annuity is used to like supplement retirement, what happens if the person dies while it's paying out?
Great question. The concept of annuity historically is you build up money. It's called the accumulation phase, okay? You're working, you're putting money in, and you're building this pile of money up. Then you retire, Trayvon. You're pretty smart. You'll probably retire at 40, 45, record. Anyway, so then I need income. I built up this pile of cash. Now, how do I get this pile of cash out? Well, in many cases, you still can take the lump sum and do what you want with. But historically, an annuity has been at a certain age, you turn it into an income stream. One of the guarantees with an annuity, you can turn your pile of cash into a monthly check that you will never outlive. Meaning if you live to age 100, you're going to get a check every month. Even though you may have been paid out more than you paid in, you can turn it, that's one of the guarantees of an annuity. You cannot outlive the money if you turn it into a monthly check. Now, the question that you have, Trayvon, is what happens to my money if I die? It depends on how you set up that monthly check. You can set it up so that upon your death, whatever cash is left in the pile goes to your spouse or your children as a lump sum. Okay. There are some annuities, in 15 years I've never set one up like this, but there is an option that you receive a monthly check, and when you die, it's over. No one gets any more money. That's called a life-only payment. I'm not real comfortable with that.
Under what circumstance would somebody do that? Just grumpy and don't want to share their money? No money for you. Yeah.
The only circumstance that a person you do get a larger check. Because when you die, the money stops flowing. So the insurance company is betting that you die before they pay out the money, and you're betting you live longer than your pile of cash.
Maybe if you don't have any heirs.
If you don't have any heirs, that would be the only real case. There's no one to leave the money to, and you want as much income as possible while you're living. That's the only real scenario that would be plausible for me, quite honestly. Yeah.
Right.
But usually, 99% of the time, someone gets the leftover money that's left over from you taking out a withdrawal every month. Yeah.
And you handle estate planning as well, so annuities fall under the estate planning umbrella?
That part of it does.
Yeah.
That's why you mentioned who gets it, the beneficiaries. We got to make sure it goes to the right people. This pile of money goes to the right people so that it fits inside their estate plan. Who gets what and how they get it. Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, it's, I don't want to say common, but it does happen where people do not make plans for their money, and then it gets very complicated on the back end. On the average, Steve, how would you, and I'm sure you've run into this, what's the average length of time? How complicated does it get if people do not put these estate planning and beneficiaries and all of that in place prior to their passing?
Well, that can get very complicated. That's why we take care of all those details on the front end, because the last thing you want is people fighting over money after someone's dead. And that's the last thing you want.
Right.
So the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, in a recent ruling in the past 2 years, the highest court in the land, whoever is named on that beneficiary form gets the money. Your will, your trust may say it goes to this daughter, but if you put your son as the beneficiary on that form, your son's going to get the money. you have a contract between you and that insurance company to do certain things while you're living, and when you die, they're under a contractual obligation to make sure that that beneficiary gets the money regardless of what your will or trust says. So that's why it's important to make sure they're all matched up together.
All right. Is that where you come in, you make sure all of that's filled out so there's no problems later?
Absolutely.
Let's say worst case scenario, someone neglects to fill out the beneficiary form, but they're married and have children. What happens? Do they have to go to court? Or?
Yeah, now that would happen. We always fill out beneficiary
Right.
form. But
Worst case scenario.
they're having some cases where, oddly enough, the beneficiary forms are lost.
Right.
And even the annuity company with the contract don't have lost the forms. In that case, in most cases where that has happened, it's payable to the estate of that person, which means that the heirs have to go to probate court and make a claim for that money. Gets a little messy that
It
time.
does, yeah. You all have any more questions?
Yes. Are there any withdrawal penalties with annuities? Like, for instance, what would happen if an investor became disabled before retirement or needed the money?
Right. Like we mentioned, most annuities are contracts that you set up for a certain period of time, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. Along the way, most companies, almost all, allow you to take a 10% penalty-free withdrawal every year. You put $10,000 into an annuity. Next year, you can take out $10,000 without any fee or penalty, just for whatever reason, no reason at all.
Do you claim it on your
you could,
taxes, though, as
if
income?
it could be taxable gain, yes.
Okay.
So they have withdrawal features where you can draw money out. We touched on it earlier. Many companies allow you that if you became terminally ill, needed to go to terminal illness, a long-term care needs arises, that you can withdraw up to 20%. A couple companies will waive all their back-end surrender fees and let you have 100% of your money if you become in a nursing home or something like that. So they all have provisions in there, Trayvon, to make it accessible, okay, for you if those needs arise. Yeah.
So can annuity benefit for a person in debt?
A person in debt?
Yes.
I would counsel the person to take the money and pay off the debt and not invest it. Okay.
Start off at ground zero. Yeah. Take care of that.
Build up from the top to the bottom.
There's just, the Bible says the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay. So it's best to not be in debt if at all possible. That would be my personal counsel, yes.
Great. Good advice. When annuities, you say they is through the insurance companies, correct? So do you as an investor, do you use a specific company? Do you have different companies that you can use? And if you use multiples, what drives you to use a different company?
Very good. I'm independent. Our firm is independent, so we can use any company in America. I kind of tailor the companies I use to the top 5 in the industry for that particular type of annuity investment we're looking to make. I want to make sure they've been around a long time. I want to make sure that they're A-rated or above with S&P and the rating agencies. Because, see, I'm making a promise to my client. If we set up an annuity for you 8 years and you die in year 7, I got to make sure that their kids are going to get the money.
Right.
So I want to make sure they're strong, financially strong, and have strong ratings and are in the business, of everything. So we're independent, but I do narrow a short list of companies that we use.
Right. So annuities aren't like you said, it's not the stock market. You don't have to go in every day and see what's going on.
Right.
Annuity is you just pick this group and put it there, or do you have to sort of keep an eye on it?
No, well, if you have a flat interest rate on the example before, if you're getting 3% for 5 years, that's what you're getting. There's no need to monitor whatever.
Right.
In the hybrid index annuities, although you're tying the growth of your account to the market indexes, most of these credit your account annually. Like if you're invested in S&P 500 index here, and a year from now it's here, that gain is credited to your account once a year and locked in. So even with those, it's really just an annual review, quite honestly. Variable annuities, on the other hand, that are fully invested in the stock market, those do require some monitoring along the way. because you might want to switch investments throughout the year or something.
Right. And you have children their age and a little older, and obviously you give them very sound financial advice. What kind of advice have you given your children that you would recommend for them?
Yes, please tell me what to do when I get to college.
I'm ready.
I kind of think if you do it for your own children, it's good advice, right?
Well,
They're all ears.
all right, good.
Listen.
Well, for one thing, we avoid debt at all possible.
Right.
I mean, two of our three children have gone through college without a credit card. Okay, without a credit card. Now, they had a debit card. I know in the world of plastic, you got to have a debit card, though, as you may know, is tied to your bank account. So you've got to have the money in the bank account to use the debit card. You're not getting credit. And they made it through fine with just a debit card. The other thing, particularly as you're in college, I mean high school here, take as many pre-college courses as you can so that you can have accumulated college credits by the time you're a senior in high school.
Yes,
You can eliminate a whole semester or a whole year. Our youngest son, we homeschool our son. He is starting the 10th grade, and we start him in some pre-college classes. He will have perhaps half of his college credits done by the time he's 3 years from now. Yeah.
That's impressive.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good
that
advice.
saves money on college expenses. Get you a little head start ahead of the group and everything there.
So what kind of advice would you give to people looking into student loans?
The student loans, if they're necessary, they're necessary. Your college education is still important, but you've got to finish it. I'm on the advancement board at Campbellsville University, and it's amazing to me how many people have 3.5 years of college. They need one more semester to get a degree, and they don't finish it. So here's the worst case scenario. You got all this student loan debt and no degree.
Oh, yeah.
To get the job that you need to pay back the debt, it's a vicious
bad
circle.
scenario.
Start college, finish college, please. Finish college and
good
go.
advice.
Student loans are a necessary evil. My wife and I, it took us 12 years to pay our student loans off when we graduated from college. But it was a necessary, for us, this just was necessary. Yeah.
And I know it's not going to be an exact number, but just to give them an example, because these numbers just blow my mind. Let's say they're 18 years old and they want to start investing in annuity. I don't know, let's throw out $100 a month or maybe $1,000 a year if that's easier. What would their money look like come retirement age?
Well, let me backtrack one thing.
Okay.
Annuities have a unique feature that I probably would not recommend an annuity for anyone under age 40.
Okay,
basically,
that's good to know.
Because
Yeah.
they have a unique feature, even if it's not retirement money, if you make a withdrawal out of them before age 59 and a half, you can incur a 10% early withdrawal penalty. So they are designed to be towards a retirement or late life vehicle, okay? Of age 59 and a half. There's some exceptions to that rule, but we don't have time to talk about that. But there's some
It's
exceptions.
another show.
The best thing you can do is start putting money away, $100 a month in a savings account, build it up to a couple thousand, then look to start investing a little bit. Like I mentioned, Facebook, a company you're interested in. If you go to McDonald's every other day, let's buy some McDonald's stock, okay?
Right.
If you like Kohl's, or KFC, Taco Bell, that's
Yeah.
Yum Brands.
Melting pot, personal
I'm just
favorite.
saying,
Yeah.
I would start off buying stock in things you use every day.
Yeah.
That way you kind of feel like you got a skin in the game. So when you get a cold French fries at McDonald's, you can go back in there and say, look, I'm a McDonald's shareholder and I deserve hot fries.
Excuse me, I own part of this business.
That's
I
right.
demand some
Make 'em
fries.
That's right. That's
Put some
right.
salt on it.
Just to get your toe wet and start feeling what it's like, what works, what doesn't work. That's
Yeah.
all.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
And just to give you a little background on Steve, he has good sage advice because he pulled himself up by his bootstraps. He's humble, but Steve had meager beginnings and worked his way up. So he's an entrepreneur. So it's always good advice. Thank you, Steve. Do you all have any more questions, or you feel like you know a little bit more than when you came in?
I just have one more
Oh,
question.
okay, sure.
Okay. Now, like having an annuity investment, like, okay, if I'm making good grades, like say about like a 3.4 grade average, can I like use that key money to like come in with annuity? Can it have a big play?
I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that question. I just don't.
He's like, oh, no.
That's fair. That's fair.
I got my two kids through college, and our youngest is just a sophomore, so I haven't looked at the college
Yeah.
situation.
I think
in a
Key's
while.
money automatically rolls directly into your college education. I don't think that you can use it for anything else. Is that your question?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that that money goes directly, and I'm sure you're going to have lots and lots of it, rolls directly to your college. And if you don't use it for college, then you lose it. I'm pretty confident that's
She has a daughter in college.
Yeah.
Probably not
Oh,
too
yeah.
One
there you
one
go.
working on her master's degree and another one in college and one up and coming. So yeah,
Alright.
we've definitely been very happy to receive Keys money. Very, very glad to have it. So it's good to have.
It's a great benefit.
Yes, it
is
is.
a great
Yes, it
benefit.
is. Well, I guess we're about out of time. We really appreciate you all tuning in today. Thank you all so much. You all have been great.
Thank you.
Please
You're
come
welcome.
back another time. Steve, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in. Steve Wright and the Wright Legacy Group are actually the sponsors of Focus on Finance, this TV show, and also the Focus on Finance financial advice column that's in the newspaper every Sunday on the Money page. Sometimes Steve is the columnist and sometimes it's another column, but he always sponsors that. And I do believe it was August 19th, not this past Sunday, but the one before, that you wrote an article about annuities.
Yep.
Some good information, good facts. You can certainly find that Focus on Finance, Annuities, Steve Wright with the Google search or even on the News Enterprise website. If you want to start receiving a newsletter from the Wright Legacy Group, they put out a wonderful newsletter every month. Just email WLG@WrightLegacyGroup.com and they'll be happy to put you on their mailing list. Website is wrightlegacy.com and there's always good information there. Not just annuities, investment planning, estate planning, all of the above. So you all start now. Don't wait. I promise you. I've never heard anybody say, boy, I really regret starting saving money when I was 18.
yes.
But I've heard a
That
whole
happens.
lot of, gosh, I've missed a lot of opportunity because I didn't start investing when I was 18, even if it's just money in the bank, but definitely
Sure.
start. And if you all have the opportunity, there are plenty of advisors in our community like Steve Wright who are happy to share some time with you and look at your portfolio. If you were like me a few years ago, I didn't even know what a portfolio was. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Go in, ask questions. Nobody's going to take care of your future like you are. So thank you all so much. Appreciate your time and have a nice day. We'll see you next time.